Good evening and welcome to the 2021 Motorsport Australia State Awards for Queensland. A big thank you to our wonderful sponsors and partners at Shannons Insurance. We appreciate all of your support. My name's Cameron Dungen and I'm here at Motorsport Australia headquarters amongst the Australian Motorsport Hall of Fame. What better place to hold an awards ceremony than here? We'd love to do it in person, but we'll get to that a little bit later on. In the meantime, before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners on the land upon which we are all gathering tonight. No matter whether you're here in Victoria with me or up in Queensland, I'd like to pay my respect to elders past, present, and those emerging. It's been a huge year in motorsport, and you've done such a great job, all of you, whether you're competitors, officials, whether you're pit crew, whatever your role within the sport, we thank you for all of your efforts throughout 2021. And I know it's going to be a big 2022 for you. Tonight is a night of celebration. It's a night of celebrating those that have achieved, but also those that have put in tireless effort throughout the course of the year. And it's going to be a wonderful night. We wish we could see you in person. Unfortunately, the pandemic is still a reality. But I want to put your mind at ease and let you know that the team at Motorsport Australia are working tirelessly to ensure that live event motorsport can continue throughout 2022 and into 2023. And we are going to do everything we can to have you all together in person at the next awards night to celebrate this year. Before we start handing out awards and celebrating the successes of many of you, let's hear now from the Motorsport Australia President, Andrew Fraser.
Thanks, Cameron, and good to join you tonight for these awards. Can I also begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the lands on which we gather tonight and acknowledge the original and enduring kinship with those lands? Can I begin also with some other acknowledgements to the State Council Chair, Bradley Tubbs, and to all the other State Council members and members of state panels. I also want to acknowledge Paul Woodward, former State Council Chair, and of course now a member of the Motorsport Australia Board, and another Queensland-based director of Motorsport Australia, Thea Jeans Cochrane. Welcome to all of you. Good to be sharing this evening with you. Look forward to a moment soon, perhaps, when we might be able to do this in person. In the meantime, I wanted to acknowledge the work of everyone who's part of tonight in keeping motorsport running over the last year. Obviously, when other states face particular restrictions, much was done to keep motorsport running, both inside Queensland and also to conduct events like a Supercars round, which helped keep that championship going. Tonight, as we celebrate the last year and what was managed to be achieved, I also want to just share with you, for those of you who haven't read about it or seen it, some of the work that we did with EY to just underscore the actual numbers that support motorsport around the country. From a Queensland perspective, the work that we did proved up that the contribution of motorsport in Queensland is a bit over $620 million. Now, $620 million in gross economic output is not to be sneezed at. That also supports around 3,400 jobs. So as a contribution to the economic wellbeing, our sport is an important part. It's an important industry. And we love the sport for all the enjoyment that it brings us, but it is also a big economic contributor, and it's good to share those numbers with people here tonight. So awards nights like tonight aren't possible without the support of our partners. And of course, tonight's awards for the 2021 year are supported by Shannons Insurance. Shannons Insurance have been a really long-standing and loyal partner for motorsport in this country. They've stood by us over the last couple of years of pandemic, and we're really grateful for their support tonight and into the future. And we look forward to working with them on many things well into the future. So tonight's also an opportunity just to mention a few things from the board table at Motorsport Australia about the sport in general. A big focus for us as we look to the year ahead is on facilities. The reality is that without the sort of facilities that we have in many places and we want to have in many places, our sport can't function. Other sports can obviously get a bit of relatively level dirt and a ball and get a game underway, but for our sport, we need something more than that. And so making sure that we protect our existing facilities, that we get the sort of investment and upgrades to existing facilities, and most importantly, plan for new facilities for the future is a real focus for us. That's requiring us to work more closely with governments at all levels, whether from councils or state and at a federal level. And that's something that we've been working hard on over the last little while and finding that we are getting more success, getting more funding into the sport from governments and motorsport getting its fair share. That's something that we want to keep working at, and that's a state-by-state proposition. And so we are looking to work with all governments on that front. For us, when it comes to working with government to get that funding into our sport, then government obviously has expectations. They've got their own requirements, and the community has its own expectations. And one area where we are seeing a lot of change is on sustainability. We need to make sure that as a sport that we are not just part of the problem, but indeed, I think we can be part of the solution. If you look at things like safety, where the innovations in motorsport have driven a lot of the safety uplifts that have then flowed through into the broader car industry, into the cars that we all drive each day, then also the same story can be said about sustainability, driving efficiency, driving some of the world's most efficient engines, and the technology that's been developed in motorsport, both in Australia and globally, in things like hybrid technology that you now see in mainstream automobiles and cars. There's a role for motorsport here to be part of the solution. But we also need to look at what that means for the sport more generally. I don't envisage a future anytime soon where all motorsport is electrified, but I also think we can't sit here and pretend that things won't change. So for me, a big part of that is about sustainable fuels, how we can keep the essence of motorsport. And that means the sights, the sounds, and even the smell of the motorsport that we all love. And so looking at partnerships around where we can be part of the solution for finding more sustainable fuels to meet that sustainability challenge that we can see coming down the pipeline at us is a big focus for us strategically as we look ahead. For us, one of the other things that is a real focus is on the officials front, on the participants front. Everywhere I go, in every track, whether it's at Morgan Park or at a hill climb or at a supercars event, the same story about I hear from our volunteers and from participants. How do we get more people involved? How do we get young people involved? How do we get more women and girls involved? And so for all of you, that starts with those of you who are interested in the sport and giving your time to it, but it also falls to the board and to the management team to make sure that we are encouraging people from all walks of life. As I said, more women and girls, and also people from different backgrounds. I just want to make a particular shout out to the Racing Together initiative, which some of you may have heard about, an all-Indigenous race team supported by Gary and Monique Connolly. Many of you will know Gary has been a long-time servant of motorsport in this country, and that initiative is the sort of example, the sort of undertaking that really provides the leadership to increase the tent for people to be involved in motorsport at all levels. Finally, a quick word on safety. We all have an obligation to ourselves, whether we're on the track or on a circuit or in whatever form of motorsport, the safety obligation we owe to each other to try and make our sport, which we know the excitement and thrill of it comes from the very essence of motorsport. We've got to make sure that we use all that we can to be the safest we can be. So I like to talk about managed risk that's fit for purpose for motorsport, whether that's, as I said, on a circuit or in another environment. And that means having the right leadership, having the right technology and the right rules in place to make sure that we can make motorsport as safe as it can be. We are making some changes on that front, more changes to come. And as ever, that's the first obligation for those of us at Motorsport Australia. Finally, as we look to 2022, well, it feels like for a long time we've all been talking about when normal will return. Well, maybe there is no such thing as normal anymore, but as we do look ahead, we can be optimistic. We can see that there will be the capacity for more events, for a return to something that approximates normal. And for all of us who love to get to a circuit, to get out in a forest or to hurl along a desert track, that's not too far away. That's happening now, and hopefully 2022 sees a lot more of it happening. I'm personally optimistic about what the year will bring for our sport, from whether that's the return of the Grand Prix finally to, at the other end of the spectrum, one of the victims of the pandemic, of course, has been our National Auto Test Championships. So this year, looking forward to seeing Motorcana, Carnacross, Hill Climb all back on the agenda, as well as the state championships. So as we look ahead, reasons to be optimistic and reasons, as ever, for us to keep our eye on the ball and make sure that we do lead well and that we do keep motorsport strong in this country. Finally, to each and every person in the room, thanks for what you do. Thanks for what you contribute to the sport that we all love. It's the people in the room tonight who do make up the sport, who make motorsport happen. I'm personally grateful for the ability to be involved, and I'm grateful to all of you for what you contribute. So congratulations to all the award winners, and have a good evening. Back to you, Cameron.
Thank you, Andrew. I agree. It's going to be a huge year in Queensland motorsport. Now, from our Motorsport Australia President through to our Queensland State Council Chair, let's hear from Bradley Tubb.
Well, good evening and welcome to the Motorsport Australia Queensland State Awards for 2021. While COVID prevented an awards function for 2020, it is pleasing to be able to hold this 2021 awards function, even if it does have to be done virtually. Although it's a virtual function, a lot of effort is still required to make it happen, and so I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all those involved in arranging and contributing to tonight's event. After a difficult 2020, around this time last year I thought that COVID was largely behind us and we could look forward to a more normal year of motorsport in 2021. As it turned out, that didn't happen. However, the signs for 2022 are looking more promising. Some early events have had to be rescheduled due to COVID-related issues, but most events are being held as planned. This year, Queensland will host the Australian Hill Climb Championship and the Australian Motorcar Championship, both in October. There will be Queensland State Championships for off-road over 3 rounds, rally over 4 rounds, and circuit racing also over 4 rounds. During 2021, despite COVID, Motorsport Australia issued permits for 188 events in Queensland. There were 78 social events, 55 carnicross or motorcar events, and 34 speed events, including autocross, hill climb, and sprints. There were state championships held for carnicross, motorcar, hill climb, off-road, rally, and circuit. Also in Queensland, there were national championships held for special stage and tarmac rallies, off-road, and historic racing, as well as 2 supercars events in Townsville. As you might expect, the vast majority of those events, 171 of the 188, were club-level events. So I thank Queensland clubs and their dedicated members for organising those events. It said a short speech is a good speech, so don't worry, there's not much more I want to say. I was pleased to see that officials training resumed during 2021 with a combination of online modules and face-to-face sessions. I'd like to thank the Motorsport Australia staff who, despite lockdowns, working from home and being on reduced hours, have kept the wheels of motorsport turning for Queensland and nationally. There are too many to thank, so I won't name names. And finally, on behalf of the Queensland State Council and the Queensland State Council Executive, I congratulate all tonight's winners. I thank Queensland's clubs, officials, volunteers and competitors for their ongoing commitment and support, and wish you a safe and successful 2022. Thank you.
Thank you, Bradley. And with that, it's time to get the evening underway. And we will start by welcoming our newest Motorsport Australia affiliated clubs in 2021, joining the fold in a very exciting time for Queensland motorsport. So it's a warm welcome to Jimboomba Heritage Vehicle Club Incorporated, Bent Rods Car Club Incorporated, Roadrunner Car Club Incorporated, Club VW Darling Downs, and Racing Together. It's a pleasure having you with us this evening and for many years to come, no doubt. Let's stick with clubs and celebrate some wonderful milestones for a number of our Motorsport Australia affiliated car clubs based right here in Queensland. Firstly, 2021 was a historic and impressive 50-year milestone for the Queensland Racing Drivers Association Incorporated. Next, we celebrate the Douglas Shire Motorsport Association Inc., who notch up 25 years as an affiliated club. Also celebrating 25 years, it's the National Australian Sport Sedans Association. Another 25-year milestone, and this time it's the Queensland HD and HR Holden Club. And it's a 10-year celebration for Tough Cars Incorporated. Well done to those milestone clubs, and in fact, well done to all Motorsport Australia affiliated car clubs who do so much for motorsport in Queensland. Now it's time to move on to Queensland's championship winners for 2021. Each award winner this evening was given the opportunity to provide a video message, and we are extremely grateful to those who were able to share their messages with us. For those who couldn't, don't worry, we'll still acknowledge your efforts, and a trophy is very much on its way to you. All right, let's begin with our 2021 Queensland Hill Climb champion. It's Dean Amos. Congratulations, Dean. Next, we move to our 2021 Queensland Motorcarna champion. So please join me in congratulating Brent Raymond. A terrific year. Well done, Brent. Now it's time to acknowledge those who performed strongly in the 2021 Queensland Rally Championship. Starting with our outright driver winner, congratulations to Glenn Brinkman. And the outright co-driver winner is Stephen Richardson.
Hi everyone. We'd like to thank all the competitors, officials and organisers for their involvement in the 2021 Queensland Championship. We're very pleased to have won our second championship, albeit 15 years apart, and we look forward to being back out there in 2022 in hopefully a more complete series. We'd also like to extend our thanks to those organisers that were unable to put their events on, and we look forward to doing them this year.
And we'd also like to thank our crew and our wives and families for helping us do this sport that we love so much. And I'd really like to thank Glenn for letting me get back in the car this year after a fairly long break. And this was a bit of a bonus, this championship, because we didn't think we'd get it. Thanks very much.
Staying with rally, let's move to the championship's two-wheel drive winner. It's Andrew Carrigan, and the two-wheel drive champion co-driver, Neil Woolley. A solid year from both Andrew and Neil. It's time to pay tribute to the next generation of rally stars, and would you please join me in congratulating our Queensland Rally Championship Junior Champion driver, Michael Gill, and our Junior Co-Driver Champion, Alex Cherry. Congratulations to you both. From rally to off-road, after a hugely successful 2021 season, would you please join with me in congratulating our 2021 champion driver, Robert Turner, along with our champion navigator, Jordan Bensman. And Robert and Jordan have provided these messages for this evening. So let's hear from the pair now.
I would like to thank a few people that made it possible for me to win this great award as 2021 Queensland Champion Off-Road. First up is my navigator Jordan for showing me the way and counting laps, and then there's all the officials, volunteers, my family, sponsors, and anybody else who help with the track preparation, that sort of stuff. The North Queensland Off-Road Racing Association, and of course Motorsport Australia for supporting the racing that we all love. Thank you.
I'd firstly like to say how thrilled I am to be receiving the 2021 Queensland Off-Road Navigator Award. I'd like to thank my driver, Robert Turner, who strives to do the best in everything he does. I would like to thank the sponsors, the fellow competitors, the officials and the volunteers who give up endless amounts of time to allow us to race. I'd like to thank North Queensland Off-Road Racing Association and Motorsport Australia for all that they do behind the scenes to allow us to race in these events. And lastly, I'd like to thank my family who are extremely supportive in everything that I do and allow me to race in a sport that I'm so passionate about. I look forward to a great 2022 on the track. Thank you.
Congratulations again to you both. Before we recognise the rest of our 2021 Queensland State Champions, we thought it would be good to look back at the year that was. It was certainly a challenging year, but one that delivered plenty of highlights, excitement and enjoyment for so many motorsport participants around the country. What an exciting year to remember, and another already well underway. It's time now to focus on circuit racing winners for 2021. And what a year it was across a range of categories that make Queensland motorsport so special. Let's begin with the 2021 Queensland Racing and Sports Cars Champion, Blake Varney. The 2021 Formula Ford Duratec Champion, please congratulate Cameron McLeod.
Hello everyone, Cameron McLeod here. Just want to say a big thanks to Motorsport Australia for hosting the Queensland Formula Ford Championship last year. Everything was absolutely unreal done by them, going to how they run it, to just about anything they've really done. And big thank you to all the marshals and everyone behind the scenes for making that championship as fair, as clean and as good it could possibly be. I just want to say another big thank you to Tony Vandergrift from Gotzinger Small Goods for supplying me the car for the year. The car was absolutely impeccable for the whole year, and I hope to score some more wins in future with that car. Another big thank you to Ryan McLeod, my father from Race Industries. He's obviously one who made a lot of this possible, being my mechanic, my engineer, my coach, and basically everything where I've got to now. Sparko for supplying me with a lot of the gear that I wear at the moment. Mike Borland from Spectrum, and everyone who's helped me out in the Formula Ford community last year. Thank you everyone for watching, and I hope to see you at the track in the future. Thank you.
Staying with Formula Ford theme, let's give it up for the 2021 Queensland Formula Ford 1600 champion, Tim Hamilton. And now it's my pleasure to congratulate the 2021 Queensland Formula V champion, Timothy Adler. Let's hear from Timothy now.
Hi everyone, how's it going? I'd like to say a big thank you to Motorsport Australia. Thank you to all the officials and the promoters and all the hard work that they do in putting on our events. Thank you to Volks Engineering, C&J Motorsport, the FBAQ, and thank you to my wife, my dad and my brother for all the hard work that they do and the help throughout the year. Thank you.
Our next winner comes from the Queensland Sports Sedans. It's our 2021 champion, Chris Donnelly. In the Sports Sedans Division 2, your champion for 2021, Bo Hatton. The 2021 Historic Touring Car Champion is Matthew Clift. Now it's my pleasure to announce the 2021 Queensland HQ Holden and Queensland Gemini Champion, Brandon Madden. Let's all acknowledge our next winner. It's the 2021 Hyundai Series X3 Champion, Luke Pink. Luke's been kind enough to share this message with you all this evening.
Hey guys, my name's Luke Ping and I raced in the 2021 Hyundai XL Series. It was a good year overall. We got 11 consecutive podiums, knew that record, and a few race wins. So overall it was an awesome year, managed to get the championship as well. For the first year it was awesome coming from karts to cars. Couldn't do that without all the people from Norwell, especially Paul Morris and the team. I'd also like to thank all my sponsors, Luxus Crates, Basic Graphics, Gold Coast Wave Runners and Express Auto Glass. And lastly, my parents for everything they've done for me, believing in my dream, helping me in my career, and let's see what 2022 brings.
Our 2021 Queensland Improved Production Car Champion and a young star on the rise made his name in a Mazda RX-7, Zach Hudson. And staying with the Improved Production category, let's welcome our Improved Production Car under 2 litre champion, it's Richard Troon. And Richard has this message for you all tonight.
It's been a trying year of uncertainty, including the cancellation of the Nationals event. The attrition rate of other under-2 competitors was not having the fastest car, but the one that consistently finished, making it a great surprise to manage to win the under 2 litre championship. I'd like to thank the Improved Production Queensland community and their willingness to help out, as well as the category sponsors. Lastly, I'd like to thank my partner Megan for putting up my racing over the years.
Thank you, Richard. It's no shock, I'm a huge fan of the improved production category. Our penultimate circuit racing award this evening goes to the 2021 Production Sports Car Prod Sports Champion. Congratulations, Darren Berry. And last but certainly not least, it's my honour to present the 2021 Saloon Cars Champion, Shane Hine. Now it's time to change pace as we move into some non-championship awards, acknowledging the amazing efforts of our clubs, officials and those who contribute so very much to motorsport. It's my honour and privilege to now present the 2021 Outstanding Club of the Year Award to Porsche Club Queensland. Porsche Club Queensland was established in 1974 and has more than 500 members. PCQ provides a range of social and competitive events for Porsche enthusiasts. PCQ's competitive events include both club and multi-club super sprints, hill climbs, motorcarnas and carna cross. While hampered by COVID restrictions, PCQ ran a number of super sprints during 2021 and ran the first event in Queensland after COVID restrictions eased. In addition to events it promotes, PCQ members contribute to the success of events promoted by other Queensland clubs by providing a consistently high number of entries for those events. PCQ also provides opportunities for its members to compete interstate. PCQ was also endorsed by Queensland State Council to run the Motorsport Australia Super Sprint Championships in 2023. Now let's move to one of the traditions of the Queensland Motorsports Award season. It's time to announce this year's winner of the Anne Thompson Trophy. And a very big congratulations to this year's recipient, Barry Neuendorf. Barry is a long-serving Motorsport Australia official who is an experienced steward and has had a significant involvement with rally and off-road events, including as clerk of course. Barry is an active member of his car club, Brisbane Sporting Car Club, and has diligently supported the club in various capacities, including serving on the board. Barry was called on at short notice to be the clerk of course at the 2021 Finke Desert Race, at which included dealing with a number of complex matters. Barry has provided this video message in honour of his award this evening.
Evening all. I'm honoured and grateful that I have been selected as the recipient of the Anne Thompson Memorial Trophy for 2021, and I would sincerely like to thank those who have nominated me for this prestigious award, which has come totally unexpected. I have, over the last 35 years as a Motorsport Australia official, as it is named today, been in awe of Anne for her knowledge and memory of the then CAMS Manual of Motorsport and associated documents. I viewed Anne as a pinnacle for officials to follow, and quite often wondered if she slept every night with the CAMS Manual under her pillow. My aim was to constantly follow in her footsteps as best as possible, and I always held her in high regard. Anne was always there to help and advise, and I must say you needed to have done your homework, and even doing that, sometimes I was intimidated due to the knowledge gap between her and myself. I started my motorsport career in 1980 by rallying a RX3 Mazda Coupe, which led me into the officialdom side of motorsport as a clerk of course checker, crow, silver event command, event assessment, course presenter and gold steward. In 2006 I was bestowed with the CAM Service Award, and in 2010 the Queensland Motorsport Official of the Year Award, all of which I am honoured to have been the recipient. Whilst devoting a lot of time and energy to the numerous events over many years, and certainly not looking for a recognition, it is very rewarding to be appreciated and acknowledged. It would be remiss of me not to thank my wife Ellie, our children and grandchildren, as they paid the trade-off for my motorsport career and the time it demands. To all my fellow associates, all who have helped me in many ways on my journey, I thank you immensely. I am so proud to receive this award, and I hope to continue in this sport that I love so much for as long as I possibly can. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, a series of awards that always make us humble. It's time to announce our 2021 Service Award and Service Star winners. Firstly, and in no particular order, would you please congratulate your first Service Award recipient? It's Kevin Hunter. Kevin is an active member of his car club, SCMSA, for which he is secretary. He is also a hard-working Motorsport Australia official. He is a silver steward, often chairing the stewards panel at state championship race meetings. As a general official, he works in a variety of roles when required, including flag marshal and starter. He is willing to make himself available to fill gaps at events at short notice. He has a focus on developing junior drivers in the Queensland Southern Downs region. He is a strong advocate and supporter of Motorsport Australia. Kevin Hunter is a dedicated, hard-working Motorsport Australia official and car club member who has made a significant contribution to motorsport in the Queensland Southern Downs area over a considerable period of time. Our next Service Award winner is Terry Scully. Terry has been a Motorsport Australia official for more than 20 years and officiated at events at all levels from club to national. Terry is a gold steward and scrutineer. He is also Deputy Chair of the Queensland Stewards Panel, a role where he assists in assuring stewards are available for events. Terry has been a scrutineer and steward for over 20 years. He has been chair of the Stewards Panel at events at all levels, including state and national, for many years, and also a member of the panel of supercar stewards for Townsville events. He has been technical delegate for Targa Great Barrier Reef when COVID restrictions prevented the Targa Series technical delegate from attending. Terry has a long-standing interest and involvement in motorsport and has been a dedicated and hard-working official for 2 decades. This often requires him to travel considerable distance to attend events across North Queensland. He is active in developing officials in North Queensland and identifying the next generation of officials. The next recipient of a Service Award in 2021, would you please join me in congratulating Ross McKellar. Ross has been an active member of his car club, CQMSC, for more than 20 years. During that time, he has held a number of roles and is currently club treasurer. He is also a long-standing Motorsport Australia official who has worked in a variety of roles including steward, event commander and course checker. In addition to his long-standing involvement with his car club and the events the club organises, Ross has worked as an assistant clerk of course checker and steward, and has put considerable effort into supporting grassroots events across a range of disciplines over many years. As a silver steward, Ross has officiated as a steward at events from club level to national level and has been selected to be part of the National Stewards Development Program. Ross's initial involvement with motorsport was as a competitor. However, for the past 2 decades, Ross has actively supported motorsport in Central Queensland as a diligent and hard-working official in various roles. He readily shares his knowledge to develop less experienced officials. Ross is a strong advocate for Motorsport Australia. Ross has sent us this message acknowledging tonight's honour.
I'd like to thank whoever nominated me for this award for this year. I've been in the sport for motorsport for 42 years, a member of the Central Queensland Motorsporting Club. My main passion is gravel rallying at night, which we don't do much of anymore. And now I mainly concentrate being an official.
Keeping it in the McKellar family, your next Service Award winner for 2021, Paul McKellar. Paul has also been an active member of his car club, CQMSC, for more than 20 years. During that time, he has also worked as a Motorsport Australia official in a variety of roles including steward, event command, scrutineer and course checker. Paul is also Secretary of the Queensland Stewards Panel. In addition to his long-standing involvement with his car club and the events the club organises, Paul has worked as a scrutineer, assistant clerk of course, and steward, and has put considerable effort into supporting grassroots events across a range of disciplines. Paul is a silver steward and has been appointed series steward for the ARC. Like many, Paul's first involvement with motorsport was as a competitor. However, for the past 2 decades, Paul has actively supported motorsport in Central Queensland as a diligent and hard-working official in various roles and in events from club level to national level. And like Ross, is certainly an advocate for Motorsport Australia. Paul has also provided a video message this evening, so take it away, Paul.
Hi, it's Paul McKellar. Honoured to be nominated and receive one of the Motorsport Australia Service Awards for this year. I'd like to thank the person that nominated me. Been involved in motorsport, predominantly rallying for obviously around 30 years. Starting as a competitor and then working into officialing as a scrutineer, crow, steward, road closure, all those sorts of things. Do it because we love doing it. And we'll continue to be involved as long as I possibly can. Thank you.
It is now my pleasure to announce this year's Queensland recipient of a Service Star Award. A face that is familiar to us all. Would you please congratulate Bradley Tubb. Brad competed in state-level circuit racing from 1984 to 1986, until having to stop due to work commitments. He then resumed competition by racing karts from 1996 to 2000 at club level and competing in state-level circuit racing from 2002 to 2004, until having to stop largely due to family commitments. After he stopped competing, he wished to continue to be involved in motorsport, which he did by becoming a steward. In more recent years, he got more involved with administration of motorsport in Queensland, leading to his current role as State Council Chair. Brad became a steward in 2006. He was appointed a bronze steward in 2008, silver in 2010, and gold in 2016. He has been a steward in all disciplines and levels of competition, including Chief Steward for the Queensland Circuit Racing Championships in 2012, Chief Steward for support categories at many rounds of the Supercars Championship 2013 to 2021, Chief Steward for the Shannons Motorsport Australia Championship 2015 and 2016, Series Steward for the V8 Utes and Super Utes National Racing Series 2017 to 2019, and Steward for the Supercars Championship 2020 and 2021. Brad was appointed to the Queensland Stewards Executive in January 2018, also taking on the role of Secretary. Appointed Chair of the Queensland State Officiating Panel in March 2018, joined the Queensland State Council in May 2019, and became Chair of State Council in December 2020. Bradley has risen through the ranks of motorsport officialdom over a number of years, and during that time, he has shown significant leadership skills, and it is obvious that he has the ability to go further, as results in recent FIA steward exams have shown. And we've already heard from Bradley earlier this evening, but it is an honour to hear from him again as we celebrate his service star.
I'm honoured to receive this award. I'm an official and volunteer because I love motorsport. That's why I do it, not to collect awards. However, I do appreciate being acknowledged. After I stopped competing, I want to stay involved and give something back to motorsport. So, in 2006, I became a steward, and I continue to officiate as a steward. More recently, I got involved with Queensland State Council and some of State Council's advisory panels. As Chair of Queensland State Council, I would like to acknowledge the work and support of my colleagues on the State Council Executive and the club delegates who participate in State Council meetings. I also acknowledge the work of the advisory panels, especially the work undertaken by the panel chairs. When I was a competitor, I had no idea what went on behind the scenes and how much time was given by so many talented people to plan and run an event that I could compete in. So to all Motorsport Australia volunteers and officials, I say thank you.
To finish off the awards this evening, it is my pleasure to officially announce our State Official of the Year. Queensland, Would you please join me in congratulating your Official of the Year, Nigel Fall. During his time, he has worked in diverse roles ranging from trackside flag marshal, post chief, sector marshal, chief flag marshal, chief marshal, deputy clerk of course, and race director at events ranging from local and state championships through to national championships. Since 2014, Nigel has been a presenter, organiser at the various Queensland State Motorsport Expos, which have been held to recruit both officials and competitors, as well as car clubs under the Motorsport Australia umbrella. Nigel is a quiet, unassuming individual who leads by example and is always willing to do whatever is required to ensure an event proceeds, whether that be working trackside on a flag point or in more senior roles, often at very short notice. His quiet, encouraging demeanour leads many people to seek guidance or mentorship from him, both of which he is all too ready to provide to anyone. His significant service to motorsport and Motorsport Australia in a wide variety of roles and as an advisory panel member make Nigel as deserving of recognition by awarding of the title Queensland State Official of the Year for 2021. And let's hear from Nigel now.
Honoured and humbled. Thank you very much for this award. Muchly appreciated. When I was introduced to the sport about 20 years ago, Ron Peach said to me that the best thing you can do in this sport is do it for yourself, not for the awards, not for the accolades, and certainly not for the paycheck. Something that has been instilled with me in the 20 odd years since I started. I guess, I need to thank Motorsport Australia for helping with the training, helping me become a better person, getting to know my motorsport family. One of the things I really enjoy about being trackside is, watching the drivers go round. Some of them getting it exactly right, some of them getting it exactly wrong, but that's all part of it. Training new officials and helping grow the sport. So thank you very much for this award. Couldn't have done it without some sage words of advice from Paul, Ian, David, lots of others as well. But I need to put a special thank you out to my lovely wife, Jessica. Without her support and her willingness to share me with my motorsport family, I wouldn't be standing here thanking everyone. Thank you very much, and really appreciate it. Thank you.
Congratulations to all of our winners tonight. It's clear that Queensland Motorsport is in very safe hands. Now, if you've missed any of the awards this evening, I am pleased to say that these awards ceremonies will be available to watch on demand at any time on the Motorsport Australia website, as well as Motorsport Australia YouTube channel. Both addresses are on your screen now. Well, that wraps up this evening's presentation, and a huge thank you for all of you tuning in tonight. I want to pay a bit of respect to all of the Motorsport Australia team behind the scenes that have helped put tonight on. And not just tonight, they have worked tirelessly throughout the course of 2021 and into 2022 to deliver live events at tracks all around Queensland and in fact all around Australia. So a huge thank you to everyone at Motorsport Australia. My name's Cameron van den Dungen, and it has been an absolute privilege to bring you tonight's ceremony and awards. I cannot wait to see you all in person next year to celebrate the season that was 2022. On behalf of everybody at Motorsport Australia, thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you next time.